Hi, I'm Sprychon, and this is my UZ tier list. It's a little bit updated from the last one I made because I took the Puni tier list that the Puni Docs has, and then put the actual UZ ranks that were missing in there, such as Cat Cradle and the Mercury characters and Foodle Boy Gold because he wasn't in there for some reason. And then I went ahead and put the two newest UZs in there, which is why they have the whole UZ aura. Now, the reason that I did this is because I wanted to make a video on every single UZ character's flaw because basically every single one of these characters has something bad about them. Some of them don't, some of them have a glaring issue that could seriously solve them. So, why don't we go ahead and start off with Miku, because Cat Cradle is not a good example to start with. Miku is an all popper rearranger with redrop as her second skill, and using Soultimate's fills her Soultimate gauge, which is not very good, and is why she was the worst UZ rank in the game until this bum came out. So what are we going to change about Miku? Well, first I have to lay some ground rules out, because obviously you just give a character unity, and all of a sudden they're amazing. So, rule number 1, we are not allowed to give a character unity, because as I just said, you could just do that for every character and suddenly they're good. And then 2, I'm only allowing myself to make one change to the character. I'm not going to change their stats because usually that doesn't do anything, but I am going to change either their Soultimate or one of their skills, or add a second skill to them if they don't have one for some reason. So what are we going to change about Miku? Well, we're going to change her using other Soultimates can fill her soul gauge to Fast Fever, because actually, I might as well go ahead and point out, we already know the kits for the upcoming event, which like just got announced, which is not Mercury, is the Mars part of Galaxy series. And let me just say, it's genuinely atrocious. They are some of the worst kits I've ever seen. But we finally have a triple Z rank or above Fast Fever for the Shady Tribe. However, the rest of his kit is so awful that honestly he's not worth bringing. So we're going to make Miku have Fast Fever, because it'll also give her a niche of being an all-popper rearranger with Fast Fever, and then the redrop can, I don't know, help you sometimes. She'd probably only be like a niche unit, but it's better than second to last. Next up, Yotsuba. Yotsuba is definitely not going to fit on the optimal Heartful team, so why don't we go ahead and just switch around to make her a good score attack unit by making her a tap inflator instead of a select popper, because she has drop big and Soultimate gauge fills when you pop large Puni, which is literally what Lance Shuka does, except you don't have to do something specific to get the drop big. So she's just automatically stronger, which is pretty nice. And she also has Tribe Unity with Flash T Cash if you want to use him, so there you go. She wouldn't be the best, but she'd be, again, better than third worst character in the game. Alright, now let's talk about Cat Cradle. Cat Cradle honestly just does not have a use, like, at all. Seriously, like, Subaru, the double Z rank for Mysterious, is like leagues better than Cat Cradle could ever be. Cat Cradle's stats doesn't matter because Subaru has guard and pop heal. The bonus balls Cat Cradle makes doesn't matter because Subaru just makes 2 large bonus balls, which is basically like 1,000 times better because it's way faster. And Cat Cradle's role of helping Aqua get her Soultimate doesn't matter because Aqua doesn't need help to get her Soultimate. If you want to see me rag on Cat Cradle more, go watch my frauds video. So what are we going to do to make Cat Cradle not useless? Well, there's really nothing we can do aside from giving him a Soultimate or a skill that would help him get his Soultimate up. So I guess Link Big or Drop Big would suffice for that. Or Pre-Fill or Fever Fill. Yeah, the character is basically useless and is unsalvageable for like everything. You would literally have to give the character Unity bonus for him to even be somewhat usable. And since we're not allowed to do that, he's going to stay as the worst character in the game. Alright, so now we have UZ Ryuta, who is a Fever Fill Soultimate filler. I don't remember his second skill. Hang on. Give me a second to find that. He's actually like fairly decent, except using other Soultimates fills his Soultimate gauge, and you're on the tribe with Mysterious, which is Aqua and Arle, so being a Soultimate filler really doesn't do too much. So yeah, kind of bad. Honestly, the only thing I can think of to make him good is giving him Revive, because then he'd just be young Rene, but a UZ rank and has Fever Fill instead of whatever Rene's Ultimate is. So as a revive, he'd be on the team, and the Soultimate filling could somewhat be useful since he has Fever Fill, so you almost always have it. Next up, Mercury Asu, an all-pop Inflate 4 with Redrop and the Attack Boost skill. I'm actually going to be replacing the Redrop skill with Drop Big. Now you might think, hey, haven't you always said that the Attack Boost skill is basically worthless? Well, it does work in throne stages. However, the second you do anything, the attack boost is just gonna get canceled. However, it still goes through for the Soultimate that you do. So if you're just spamming Asu's Soultimate and he's popping a bunch of his large Puni to get an attack boost, you can get 8,000 damage per attack boost. And if you're just spamming him, that's probably anywhere between 0 extra damage to 40,000 extra damage, which is pretty big, and could let him potentially outdamage Kagure Zochten. I've actually done a whole bunch of tests for Fever Extenders and Extreme Pumpers and how they affect other Soultimates, and I want to go ahead and share a little bit of that information. My Fuyu Dread at Limit Break 1 and G Soultimate 3 did almost 115,000 damage with a combo of 114, and Yamoto with a Super Fever in play and the combo of 114 did 120,000, almost 121,000. However, he's Limit Break 7, also G3. So if I had the Limit Breaks for Fuyu Dread, they'd basically do the same damage. So if Kagure Zochten is doing basically the same damage as Asu without the attack buff, and you can just spam Asu and get the attack buff, then he would outdamage Kagure Zochten, which would be pretty nice. Next up, Guardian Ren. I seriously wish that I could change two things, because he's one of those all attackers, which is just so garbage. But he also doesn't have a skill to get his Soultimate up super easily. See, he's an all attacker, all pop Inflate 4 with Afterfill, and using other Soultimates will fill his Soultimate gauge. The best thing we could do is just not make him an all attacker and just make him a regular all pop Inflate 4. Because then he'd be somewhat decent for free to play Heartful teams that don't have Summer Setsuna or Hime Natsuyomi. So I mean, that's kind of it. That's really all we can do, because he's either going to be a terrible attacker that's not worth bringing, or he's going to not have any sort of skills to help him get his Soultimate up easy besides the Soult Fill on Soultimates. Next up, Full Bloom U. Super duper easy to do. Just make her an Inflate 4 again. Then she can almost outdamage Kagure Zochten, but she'll also have Revive. However, the only problem is that she's the same character as a triple Z rank Unity bonus, so even then, I don't know if she'd be too useful. You can make her an Inflate 4, you can just change her Soultimate to be anything that's not a Select Popper or any sort of AoE. And then she's immediately either in the top of good units or at the bottom of great units. Next up, Mikey. Mikey's actually pretty fine as a character. However, he's in the Shady tribe where Boso Hinozal is, and if you don't have Fast Fever, then Shady is just kind of bad. But we do have Fast Fever now, and it's so bad that it's not worth bringing. So how are we going to fix Mikey? Well, we can honestly just make him an Inflate 4 like his triple Z rank counterpart. We can change his Afterfill to be Fast Fever, because, oh yeah, he's an all-popper Soultimate filler with Fever Fill and Afterfill. It would get rid of a whole score attack strategy with him and Charming Ren if you were to get rid of his Afterfill, but honestly, I don't really care about score attack strategies at all. So I might as well just do this. There. Score attacks shouldn't be here, but we'll go ahead and finish this row just because I started it first. So you can give him Fast Fever instead of Afterfill, so then he'd just be a really good Soultimate filler that's almost always worth bringing. You could make him an Inflate 4 instead of a Soultimate filler. You got some options. Next up, Nino. She is a Link Big Fever Fill all popper Soultimate filler. Yeah, I had to think for a minute. So honestly, she's fine, except Izana is on the team, and Izana can help you spam what's her name, Sakuchan, or you can just spam Izana because they almost do the same amount of damage. So yeah, literally all we could do is just give her Unity instead of Fever Fill, because Link Big is just better. But since I'm not allowed to give characters Unity, we're just gonna not change her because she's fine as is. Next up is Yoma Chojin King Nate. He's an easy link big all popper Soultimate filler. He's fine. I mean, I guess you could make him an all pop inflate 4 so that way he can give you multiple Soultimates for like either Itsuki or Hyaki the Muncher, but since a Megumin exists, he doesn't really need to have either of those. So, he's fine. Just make him an inflate 4. Next up is one of the newest characters, Young Dame Dead Time. She is a tap inflator, also limit break tenable. Let me just restart. She's a limit break tenable tap inflator with pre-fill and easy link. Honestly, I say she's on the team instead of Mikey because one of my buds, Strap, pointed out how, she has easy link, which is almost fast fever, and she has like super high stats and does like a ton of damage in a super fever with a high combo. So yeah, she's on the team. Shady is not very much better, but hey, a buff's a buff is a buff. So what are we going to change about her? Well, we're not going to change the tap inflator part. We're instead just going to straight up give her fast fever, because then she has both high stats and fast fever. Pretty nice. Next up, Summer Natsume. She is a stacking all popper with revive and redrop. It's very easy to make her incredibly busted, and we're going to do that. We're going to replace redrop with drop big. Now she is Idol Yasha Enma, except with revive. So like 1,000 times better, and will easily outdamage Shuka because she's a stacking all popper, and in a super fever with a high combo, she's definitely going to outdamage Shuka. So yeah, Charming might actually end up being better than Heartful because they can just nuke the enemy with Natsume. I really wish these were real because it would be super nice to just be able to throw beach balls at the enemy and they just explode. Next up, Charming Ren, a Link Big tap inflator with, I don't know, some sort of Soultimate filling on popping large Puni. Yeah. So what are we going to do to buff this guy? Well, it's the most unrealistic buff here, believe it or not. But instead of his Soultimate fill on popping large Puni, we're going to give him after fill. I'm fairly certain that if he had after fill, just popping a large Puni that he makes with his Soultimate would get you his Soultimate again. So you could literally just infinitely spam his Soultimate. And then he will 100% be the best score attack unit in the game, probably even better than Arle, because you could just keep using his Soultimate over and over and over again, and he has that Charming Watch to buff his attack by 50%. So now you just have a nuclear bomb that just can't lose, period. Next up, Punigami, an attack booster with redrop and fever fill. Honestly, perfect score attack unit. Doesn't need to be changed at all. Next up is the great units, and we're going to start off with the other new character this event, Bridal Jane. She is a super fever fill, woman-powered UZ rank. She only has 3 limit breaks, and like even though she has a women power skill to buff her attack by 15%, it only increases her damage against Oni, like compared to Oni King Enma, by like 7%. And if you were to have like a whole team like built for her, she'd only outdamage him by like 1 to maybe 3%. I don't know. My Shogi Yami Enma, yeah, I always confuse them. My Shogi Yami Enma wasn't level 80, so it's probably like 2 to 3% more damage with her team. But Oni King Enma has a revive, so I really don't know how good it is. Now, I know I said I'm not allowed to give characters Unity bonus, but it just give her Unity. She basically has Unity, but for women, but it doesn't work on her team. Just give her Unity. It would be so much better. If you don't want to do that, give her Link Big, I guess. Or give her Fast Fever. but just give her Unity. Break the rules. Enma kind of needs it. Because next character is Fudo Boy Gold. He's an all-popper Soultimate filler with Funny Nyando's Start Big and the ability to stun the enemy. No, he has a Suzaku's crit ability. So the problem with him is that he's actually like a really good character, and a lot of tribes would have liked to have him, such as Eri. However, he's fighting the slot of Festival Boso Enma, who is also a Soultimate filler, but will stun the enemy for 10 seconds at the start of the fight, which is kind of the whole reason the Enma tribe is as good as it is, because otherwise they'd just be slippery, but a little bit worse, maybe. I don't know. So what are we going to do? Well, we can do many things. We can either give him Boso and stunning skill instead of Funny Nyonbo start big, and you might think, oh my god, that's ridiculous. But you got to remember, this guy is a Golden Week Nyonbo exclusive. He's not. They have told us he's not coming back until sometime in 2025. So him being really good would have made up for the fact that he would have been super busted because he's not coming back for a while. And he's a Nyombo exclusive. They want money anyways, so it might as well. But if you don't want to do that, then we can give him, instead of the stunning ability, we can give him guard. Because then he'll literally just be Blue Sky Helmet Suzaku, but a Soultimate filler. And then it'll make up for the fact that you're giving up a 10-second stun to put him on the team. So with enough luck, Enma Tribe can literally just win any single fight ever. Aside from like the nerfing stages. Next up is Mercury Death. Limit Break Tenable. Use the rank Soultimate filler with Fever Fill and Drop Big. Now, since Fever Fill is just amazing, we don't need Fever Fill, so we can do many things. So we can take this one of two ways. We can either give him After Fill instead of Fever Fill, so now he's just a really good like support like Soultimate filler, or we can turn him from a Soultimate filler to a Fever Extender. And you might think, oh, Kagura's Ultra didn't kick off the team. I mean, you could still bring him for Fast Fever because you either bring him or the slippery double Z rank McCracken. So you can bring either one of them, but then this guy would be Limit Break Tenable, which is like a pretty substantial buff to his damage, and he has Drop Big, so he's super spammable. So yeah, pretty good. Next up, Happy Wedding Itsuki. One of my favorite characters to use in the game, but I don't like that she doesn't have a skill that doesn't help her get her Soultimate up, so I can't get... Like, it doesn't matter too much with Megumin, because you have so much time waiting for her Soultimate that it doesn't even matter. But instead of After Fill, let's just give her Fever Fill, because then she'll just be the same as these characters. And these two are basically flawless. We don't need to change them. If you wanted to make a change, instead of Fever Fill, you could give them Link Big, so they were just like spammable by themselves. But other than that, not too much needs to be changed. Next up, I separated the EX poppers and have ordered their tier. First up, Punigami. We'll turn him from literally just a pre-fill EX popper with 10 limit breaks, and we'll give him Fast Fever instead of his bonus balls. Now I'll have to actually buy his second skill, because then he'll have a really good one instead of bonus balls. Next up is Jane and the UZ Ryuta. Both of them are pre-fill EX poppers with redrop, so instead of redrop, give them Fast Fever. Now we don't have one character per each tribe that needs to have it, and Jane will actually be able to be useful and will further differentiate Oni King Enma's team from Jane's. Bridal Jane's. Next up, Swimsuit Marine. I couldn't think of her name for a second. She has pre-fill, is an EX popper, and has after-fill. Honestly, she's amazing. The only thing I could think is obviously giving her Unity instead of after-fill. But since I'm not allowed to do that, give her Fast Fever. Maybe Link Big. Other than that, she's pretty good. Or you could give her Easy Link, just like Ichika, because honestly, I don't think Ichika needs to be changed. Sure, you could give her Fast Fever, but Aqua also has Fast Fever, and the Easy Link allows you to basically just move her out of the way. So, it depends. Next up is Tamata Ren, a Fever Fill, Fast Fever EX popper. Honestly, he also doesn't need to be changed. He's pretty good as is. Next up is the Nyonbo exclusive Fumi Hime Halloween mode. She is just the same thing as Swimsuit Marine, except a Nyonbo exclusive, so she has a higher damage multiplier. Literally just the same thing as Marine, just copy-paste the skills for her again. Or you could give both of them, or any of them, the next Nyonbo exclusive, Baby Doll U. She's a pre-fill EX popper, but after you use her Soultimate, any Puni can fall down larger than usual, so basically she helps fill the soul gauges of other characters by 20%. That's pretty nice. That's very nice to have. It helps you get their G Ultimates up. It's just great. Just give that to any of these characters instead of their pre-fill skill, and then boom, it's amazing. I just noticed every single UZ rank that we have that's an EX popper has either pre-fill or fever fill. That's pretty insane. And then finally we have the all attacker EX popper, Demon God Nate, except he has Fever Fill and Unity. So all we have to change is just not make him an all attacker, and then he's immediately going like here or here. Like he's that good. Next up is Cross Enma. Cross Enma is he was honestly doomed from the start. He's not good in like actual fights, and his bonus isn't like high enough for like Ohajikis to make him worth using beyond like level 7, because you have to fill the team up with like tons of unity bonuses for him to be even like somewhat decent. So we can do this one of two ways. We can change his Ohajiki bonus from 500% to, I don't know, 1000%. Then he'll be a large damage bonus if you give him enough unity bonuses. Or you can make him actually good for real fights and give him pre-fill or fever fill. Then we can put him on Bridal Jane's team, and then their team can just be even farther ahead than these two in terms of damage. Then we have Fubuki. I would say you can do like a lot of things. Personally, if we don't want to increase her damage to 1000%, which honestly she kind of needs, because like it does feel a little weak. She just hits as hard as a medium bonus universally. It was good this event because one of the large bonuses was a charming character, so we could just fill the entire team up with charming characters, and then she would put in work. But if you don't want to do that, you can switch the places of her revive, which you have to give up to get the golf skill, or her redrop, which she always has. So now she is a Soultimate filler with revive and a golf skill, and you use the book to give her redrop. You would never do that, so now she's really good for both normal fights and for golf fights. She would definitely be fighting both Kokibi and Natsume for that slot, but hey, it depends. Next up, we have Oni King Enma, who is honestly just like a perfect like fever extender. He's super good. I say he's better than these ones because like they have fast fever, and like for Shuka, Ai Haibara has fast fever, so it's not as valuable for her. But for Kegare Zelchton, it is pretty valuable, but at the same time, while he is the only one on the team that has fast fever, they're the third worst tribe in the game, so maybe that has something to do with it. So him having revive all the time, which Slippery does not have all the time, and him having fever fill as well as being a super fever, I say he's honestly pretty perfect. Just like an amazing attacker. Like, sure, he's fighting Jane for the slot, but you're giving up the revive for slightly more damage, so it really just depends on the fight. Next up is Summer Setsuna. She is a Soultimate filler, Nyanbo exclusive, so she does more damage than usual, with Fast Fever and the Start Rearranged skill. I really would like to give her like Fever Fill or something, but her niche as just like being able to get into Fever time immediately with her Start Rearranged and Fast Fever, it's just too good to give up. So we might as well, if we don't want her to be a Soultimate filler, we can make her an All Pop Inflate 4, so that way she can help get, like, I don't know, spam Soultimates up. Maybe. I don't know. But she's honestly just, like, great as is. And then we have, like, the last characters, which are honestly pretty flawless. She's a Soultimate filler with Pre-Fill and Unity. He's a Fever extender with Fever Fill and Unity. Same with her. And then Aqua is just, like, amazing. Fast Fever, the ability to heal. It's easier to get her Soultimate up in Fever time. And she does more damage than everyone else, on top of the fact that she's also the Murbeck Tenable. And then Megumin with Revive and a nuclear weapon as a Soultimate type. The only thing that could make her better is just buffing the Soultimate type to make it not take forever to charge. And then she also has the Ohajiki bonus, and if you don't want that, she has Easy Link, which can help you get like her Puni out of the way so you can get Itsuki's Fast Fever. Pretty ridiculous. So now I want to talk about the next characters, because we actually have like 3 Uzis coming up, which spoilers. One of them is a Nyanbo. If you don't want to hear the spoilers, get out of here. Run, please. So the first one we have is Mercury Asu. He is the main character, so no, not Mercury, Mars Asu. We're going to Mars next. He's a UZ rank Brave tap inflator with redrop and pre-fill. He is the crank character, so he's not limit break tenable, but he is pretty good for a score attack unit. However, he's fighting Ren for the slot, so we can neither just keep the like we really just can't do anything with it. All we can do is turn the pre-fill to fever fill, so that way he gets the 95% to a soul gauge every time he enters fever time instead of just the first time you enter the fight. Because I don't know if he's going to be out damaging Ren with his 50% watch bonus for attack. Maybe. Next up is Death Mars, who is the Throne character. However, he is a brave attack booster with Link Big, and popping large Puni can fill other Soultimate gauge. He's really bad, honestly. Your attack booster doesn't need Link Big. So we can take this one of two ways. We can give him redrop instead of his big fill, or we can give him appear less, so that way he's good for Arlay strats. That would be like leagues better than everyone else for Arlay strats because he's a UZ rank. Or we can make him a score booster. Not gonna happen because we don't even have a double Z rank score booster. But you wanted a buff, I gave him a buff. And then finally we have, I guess, a Nyanbo exclusive, Hikoboshi Fudoma, a UZ rank Enma rearranger with, it says stun and drop big after his Soultimate. If the stun works against like difficult fights, and I also don't know how long the stun is, I'm going to assume it's just 2 seconds, like Shinji and Earthwalker NOA's stun. So I'd put him in, I guess, the top of good units with a niche use, but if it's like 5 to 10 seconds of a stun, then we'll put him in top, under the fever extenders, right behind Itsuki, in great units. Because then you could like stun the enemy if your fever time's about to run out, and then use all of your New Year's Kairas and get into a second fever time. It'd be pretty great. And then like he has drop big after his Soultimate, so you just get like more Soultimate filling. He'd be pretty good, but he'd also be fighting Boso Enma and Fudo Boy Gold for the slot, so I really wish they'd stop making Enma Nyanbo exclusives. I wish they'd just make Eri Nyanbo exclusives. Yeah, I can't use them, but like Eri is the worst tribe in the game, and Enma's pretty good. They don't need any more help right now. So yeah, that's how I'd fix all of these characters, and this is also my new tier list. Put Mars Asu in score attack. Put Death Mars in a whole new tier that says useless even for score attack. And then put the new Fudoma at behind Dame Dead Time and before Nate. Put them here, and then that's my tier list. Hope you enjoyed me ranting about how I'd fix these characters, because I'm honestly very sick of... We get amazing characters like Aqua, and then we get this, or this, or this, or this, or this. This is beyond pathetic. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and look forward to a Yokai Watch 4++ playthrough. Yeah, bye.